You look good.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's
Happy
great. Happy
Monday.
Monday. I know, right? We made it to another week. I'm excited about that.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. How's it going in Dallas? What's the weather like today?
It's really pretty. So it actually kind of feels a little bit fall weather, like fall weather. So yeah.
Finally.
hmm
Awesome. Well, hey, we'll go ahead and get started. It's nice to have you on the call again today.
Thank you.
And as I mentioned earlier, she comes to us from a business solutions background. And why don't you start by just telling the people about what it is that your business is about, and how you got started in your business?
Sure. My name is Adina Collins. I am the CEO of Fortitude Financial Consulting. I launched my business about 2 years ago after being in public sector. I also did some project work in private sector as well as with nonprofits. And so I primarily offer three different types of services. I work with people who need help with virtual chief financial or CFO services. I also offer tax planning services, which is a specialized service that helps people to be able to identify what different ways that they may be able to save in reference to their federal tax bill throughout the year, because it's too late to be able to identify different ways to save when you go and file. And then the final thing that I do is that I do offer business coaching as well as personal finance coaching as well to individuals as well as to small business owners.
Nice. That's awesome. And who would you say is like your ideal person or people type of people that you could help?
Well, actually, I love being able to help again smaller to mid-sized businesses. I do want to be able to assist attorneys, but I have actually helped quite a few small business owners, including startups. So pretty much, I am looking for someone or people that are definitely coachable, trainable, teachable, and coachable. I'm definitely looking for people that are not quite sure which way that they want to go. They know that they want to grow, but they really don't have a solid financial strategy and how to get there, whether it's for the short term or for the long term. People who may feel like that their finances are a little bit out of control and they kind of need that guidance to be able to kind of hone them in, make sure that they are really following the right type of track, the right type of pathway to be able to get to their what's next. So literally, I am helping you out with the 10,000 foot overview, helping you to get really clear and narrow with where you are, where you want to go, and being able to help you to be able to execute some great strategies to be able to help you to identify your ideal clients and then how you can best serve them, whether it's through technology or just making sure that your business operations are definitely on point.
Nice. That's awesome. And one thing I do know about you is that you're well educated and you're a powerhouse, and you've made sure you've equipped yourself. Would you mind talking about a little bit of some of the qualifications that you have and what kind of qualifies you to be doing what you're doing now currently?
Sure. Actually, I have a MBA. So I do have an MBA from Tulane University. I also have an undergraduate degree, a bachelor's degree, actually in accounting. So the majority of my business background has included internal audit. It's included accounting. It's included financial analysis as well as budgeting. So literally, I have a lot of back office finance functions. And so a lot of what I had to do during my time that I was working for other people, working in the public sector as well as in the private sector, was actually helping them with a lot of project management. So helping them to be able to understand where they are, helping to really be able to create a story that goes along with your numbers, because there's nothing worse than being able to have reports in front of you, but you're not sure what exactly those numbers mean. How is that going to affect you on a day-to-day basis? How is this going to affect you as you go forth and you try to plan strategically to be able to make sure that you have key resources that are in place to make sure that you are on target in reference to who you're serving. Are you effective with what you're doing? And also, are you using your time wisely? Are you making sure that you are taking advantage of all of the different resources that you can to make sure that you're operating as lean and as efficiently as you can? So that's a little bit about what I believe qualifies me for that.
Awesome. And you know what? It's so funny. I actually, before finance, I was a project manager and acted in that function as well. And people definitely take for granted the amount of effort and the amount of just how it streamlines everything that you're trying to do by having someone have that oversight when it comes to the details and the nitty gritty, right? But it's very rare to have project managers that also are super detailed, but also have really great people skills. I just wanted to commend you on that. Okay. What made you really decide to kind of like burn your flag and start a business? Because you had what some would say is like the cream of the crop when it comes to careers, and you were doing everything you wanted to do. So what made you decide to pivot into business?
Well, I felt quite honestly quite limited. People sometimes, when you're in certain roles, are very comfortable with keeping you with where you are because you serve a function for them and you're very good at what you do. One of the things and one of the reasons why I ended up kind of moving around and getting myself exposed to various areas of accounting and finance is because I have a natural curiosity and I have a natural curiosity to learn. And so sometimes it was a little bit difficult to be able to get onto different projects that allowed me to be able to use my skill set as well as be able to interact with people from various departments or different types of industries. And so one of the reasons why I really wanted to be able to launch out as a business owner was because I wanted to be able to have the variety. And I also wanted to continue to learn as much as I can, because the thing is that sometimes you can get very good at what you do when you're in a specialized place, like I was in public sector, or also I used to work for several different universities, and that's great, to be able to have that. But sometimes there's not always a lot of new projects that come along. Typically, you tend to deal with the same people over and over and over again, day to day, and so there's not always a lot of different learning opportunities outside of what you're currently doing. And so for me, it's definitely a pleasure for me to be able to continue to stretch myself. And I said, well, listen, if I can provide these same types of services to individual businesses or to state government, I came from the state of Louisiana. If I was able to be able to do that for governmental aided entities or be able to work with universities, colleges, or even smaller corporations, why can't I do this for myself and be able to help a wider variety of people, and not be limited to just one particular setting in one particular desk. And so that was definitely one of the reasons why I decided to launch out on my own.
Exactly. I love that. I love that. No limits, limitless, right? That's what
Mhm.
made me start my business too. Is it was always like, okay, I could take on more, but it's just like it's never going to be enough, and you're always going to kind of be capped at what you could do versus your actual potential, right? So it's,
Absolutely.
yeah. So okay, being an employee and being an entrepreneur is two very different beasts, right?
Yes.
Now, what would you say that gets you up out of the bed every single day? Because not a lot of people understand that, okay, you're not on somebody else's clock anymore. So you got to motivate yourself. So what gets you up every single day?
One, again, the opportunity to be able to continue to learn. And then secondly, my ability to be able to work with different people and to be able to serve them. It has definitely been a pleasure, I think, for me to be able to work with other people who have that fire, that desire to want to. There's nothing more exciting than being able to see something that was in your head that you have actually brought out and you've created, yourself. Sometimes it's very hard for people, they know that they have a bright idea, they have something great, but they're just not sure what they can do to be able to make sure that everything is running on the back end in reference to your business operations properly. And so one of the things that really gets me is, for people who really they have an interest, but it's just not a love, it's not a passion, then that's where I get to come in. And I think one of the things that I really enjoy doing, no matter what type of service that I do, is that in some way or another, I end up training and coaching. And so that's definitely ends up being one of my greatest joys when I can see someone who was interested in doing something. They felt like maybe that they were incapable, maybe because they didn't have the background or they didn't have the training to be able to do it. And just from being able to explain, a particular concept, and they get it and they can see that they can run much further down the road than, even the little interaction that I've had with them, then that definitely gives me great joy. And that's one of the things that helps to get me out of the bed.
That's awesome. Service, that's the key, when you're serving
Absolutely.
others. And yeah, that makes sense. It gets you out of the bed every day because it's not just about you, it's something much bigger outside of yourself. That's awesome. So, in that same realm of questions, what would you say is your passion and your fire? What excites you?
I think for me, again, my passion is actually making sure that people understand that numbers matter. It's not just about the numbers, but it's how can you get there? What do they mean to you? And really being able to tell your business story with your numbers. Sometimes people feel like they're scared of numbers. They want to go into business, but they're scared. They really don't want to deal with numbers. Oh, no, 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 I don't want to touch it. I'm like, well, no, that doesn't make sense. You don't get into business unless you really are concerned about numbers. Yes, you can be concerned and passionate, of course, about helping other people or wanting to provide a good or service. But the truth is that you don't go into business unless you really want to make a profit. Because if you don't want to make a profit, then you start a nonprofit, which just serves the community, and maybe you're able to get grants to be able to serve others. But I think just being able to help people to understand that numbers don't have to necessarily be complicated, and that they actually are empowered to be able to make great financial decisions, and that they actually have a very active part. And so that's one of my passions, and making sure that they understand that, and not, making them feel like I'm the one that knows it all. Again, just being able to come to you, be able to present different concepts to you, and to kind of see that light bulb go off and say, oh, wow, I didn't think about that before. Oh, wow, that now makes sense to me. That definitely is one of my passions.
That makes sense. And what would you say for people or entrepreneurs who are kind of afraid or intimidated by money, or by the numbers, or by, the word profit? Because I know sometimes people get a little anxious when they hear those types of words, those trigger words. What tips or techniques would you give to other people in a similar type of profession where we have to focus on shifting people's mindsets? What would you say are some tips or techniques around like guiding them through that process?
Well, actually, I currently have a client who is actually in the health and fitness industry, and she actually kind of falls into the category that you mentioned. There was some prior money trauma, if you will, that she had experienced growing up. And it kind of continued on in reference to the way that she chose to handle her own personal finances, as well as how she was a little bit hands off in reference to how she managed her own business. So I'm glad that you brought up mindset, because one of the things that I start with is that the number, the money, it's currency, it's flow, it's subject to change. It's just, honestly, even when you're looking at performance in reference to, okay, well, how many things did you sell this particular quarter or this week or whatever it may be? That is just one particular point in time. I always like to kind of tell people it's almost kind of like driving a car, right? So there's a reason why your windshield is much bigger than just the rear view. When you're looking at numbers on a page, something that happened in the past, it's just a reference point. It's just where you are, and it may give you the opportunity to be able to change things. The other thing that I like to tell people is that if they're concerned, especially when it comes down to numbers in reference to their own money, the thing is that this is yours. It's not, coming from let me beat you up. You could have made better choices. We all could have, quite honestly. And a lot of times we learn the best lessons when we have royally messed up, if you will. But the thing is that this is just something that you can do. One of the things that I say is, especially for people that feel like that they're a little bit anxious when it comes down to money, is you get to assign where the money goes, which makes people feel a little more empowered. So a lot of times people feel a little bit tense, when people say, oh my gosh, I have to come up with a budget. Well, here's the thing. The budget just takes a look at, again, currently what you're bringing in, how you're spending. And a lot of times people aren't looking at, their bank statement or, looking online to see how many let's say lattes that they may have bought. It's just a, normal habit, that they kind of do, but they're not paying attention to how things add up. Well, just like you can assign your money to pay for your ongoing regular monthly bills, you can assign your money to entertainment. You can assign your money to saving. You can assign your money to investing. You can assign your money to even being able to give people gifts. We know that the holidays, yikes, are coming up within 2 months. Right? So you can assign how much that you want to give, how much you may want to spend, or if you choose to spend, perhaps for some people, they don't necessarily like to give gifts, but they like to be able to maybe cook, to be able to express, the cook or bake, to be able to express their love or, their appreciation. Then again, you are empowered to be able to say, well, hey, this month, I want to be able to do this. Or maybe I can start off very small if you feel like you don't really have a lot to be able to give or to be able to save or to be able to invest. And so I think a lot of people feel like sometimes there's just so many constraints that they don't really feel like I really am in control of this. And I can shift at any time that I need to.
Yeah, that makes sense. Man, the biggest thing I just took from that is that you assign where your money goes. We
Yes.
have the power. You have the power. So I think budgeting sometimes makes people feel less empowered. But actually, when you have eyes on where everything is going, you're so much more empowered, and you can make more informed, decisions about where your money is going. That was great, Adina. So I want to throw out this quote because we're talking about managing money. We're talking about time and about budget and what it affords you. So give me your thoughts on this quote, or this question rather. If income weren't a factor, what would you be doing with your time? Now, I hear a lot of people that are in positions because they have to, they have to make ends meet, or they have to do this and they have to do that. What would you say to people like that when considering, what if time and money weren't a factor? What would you say?
I would say for people, there's nothing wrong with being able to take a look at, your current reality, but just remind yourself that there are multiple ways that you may be able to change your reality. I think sometimes when we're going through like really, really tense and hard times, and I'm no stranger to that, sometimes we forget to dream. We forget to be able to reimagine what things could be. And it's not about necessarily living in fantasy land, but the thing is that here's the thing. If you stop dreaming, then pretty much you're just saying, okay, well, I'm only going to be at this particular level, this particular station in life for the rest of my life. And sometimes being able to just take out a little bit of time can help you actually to be able to refocus, because you may get in contact with, it could be a hobby that may make you money. For example, there's a lot of great people out there that I'm sure maybe like to cook. They may be really great at, I know you have a friend that's really great at kind of like rebuilding computer systems and things like that. It's not anything that they would necessarily choose just as a vocation, but it's just something that they love to do. And guess what? It ends up being something that people are willing to pay them for. You never know how things may end up, again, with you just kind of thinking about things and what things that bring you joy. You never know, that could be something that could eventually be monetized and can help you to be able to kind of go beyond where you are. So I would definitely say take time to be able to kind of brainstorm, to be able to take time to make sure that you're staying in contact with who you are and where you are and where you want to go. And just know that there's not any foolish idea that's out there. Your idea doesn't have to look like anyone else's.
Because it's yours.
Because it's yours. Absolutely.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, with that, I know you took your concrete, job, vocation skills and moved them over to your business. But if you had like a hobby or a pastime that you could turn into a business, what would that be for you?
Actually, I am a really, really good cook. And one of the things that I would love to be able to do is to be able to do some small catering. I love to cook and I love to entertain. And so one of the things that I would love to be able to do is to be able to maybe give dinner parties that are maybe like 20 people and below. And just to be able to kind of create, just something different, something fun, something kind of interactive with the guests that they can enjoy. That would be definitely one of the things things that I would be looking at.
Now I know whose house I'm going to for Thanksgiving. I'm just kidding. By myself. So what's your favorite like go-to dish that just gives you kind of peace on earth to recreate every time?
Oh wow. I think I have two. One is my grandmother's recipe for gumbo. I am a Louisiana girl. I would say probably my grandmother's filet gumbo. And the second thing is stuffed bell peppers.
Okay, nice. You know what? I don't think I've ever told you this. We actually have this in common. My great grandmother is from Louisiana, and so my go-to dish is her sweet potato pie. So we have that.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
That's
Gotcha.
awesome. So now I know what to ask you for. Okay, the gumbo, the stuffed bell pepper, we got it online. So I'd like to talk a little bit about habits real quick when it comes to because we talked about what gets you up out of the bed every day. But what's one of the first things that you do in the morning to kind of set yourself up for success throughout the day?
Well, when I can, I try to actually start the night before by writing out a couple of things that I know I want to accomplish for the next day. If I've been successful at that, then one of the first things that I do after praying and kind of having my morning devotion, then one of the things that I normally do is go check out that list. So I'm kind of already setting my day mentally, revisiting that list that if I've been a good lady, that I've gone ahead and prepared the night before. But if I have not, then I'll go ahead and take that time to be able to use my pad or my legal pad or, some other pad just to be able to go over the things that I feel like are definitely most necessary. Also go ahead and cross-check that against my electronic calendar just to make sure that I'm staying focused, I'm staying on target. Take a look at anything that maybe I should have completed the day before and see if there's any way that I can work it in if it's not anything that is super high priority, then I may try to give myself a little bit of grace, but definitely trying to make sure that I am keeping up with open projects and making sure that I am definitely trying to cross off. Yes, it may sound a little bit old fogey, but being able to to me, it's really great for me to be able to kind of go and physically check off that to-do list because it makes me feel a little more accomplished.
That makes sense. That's good
Yeah.
stuff. I like how you said that you do your morning devotionals and you do your praying. People often think that you do have to sacrifice in order to be in the success lane, but you can really have it all if you schedule it all in.
Mhm.
And I believe in like putting your night together, your day together the night before. Sometimes it's funny how like if we don't comply with that rule and then we try to do it the day of, there's things that we miss
Mhm.
if we don't plan it out the night before. And I'm like, oh, I could have done this, and that, but since I waited till the day of to plan it out, it just changes things, right?
It does.
Because I think we have a warped idea of how much we can or can't get done within a day. We can get done a lot. Like you probably get
Yeah.
done more in an hour sometimes than you do in a day if you plan it out accordingly. So I agree with that wholeheartedly. So how would someone get connected with you if they wanted to go ahead and utilize your business solution services or your planning services for their business? How would they reach out to you?
Sure. Well, actually, of course, I'm here on Instagram. You can reach me either through my company handle, which is Fortitude_financial, or you can reach out directly to me, Adina Collins_financial expert on IG. You can also reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm Adina Collins and then comma MBA. You can find me that way. You can also go to my website, which is www.fortitudefinc.com. So that's www.fortitudefinc.com. And so if you may be interested in booking a 20-minute complimentary session with me, if you'll just go to my website, on the front page, you could just scroll all the way down and you can go, there's a link actually to be able to book on my calendar.
That's awesome. Great. Thank you so much. And we'll close out with a couple like fun questions now. So, what would you say is your favorite business themed movie or TV show?
Wow. I would say probably because it had such a huge impact on me, I guess as a teenager, was Wall Street with Michael Douglas and Charlie Sheen. That was the first time that I actually remembered seeing something being brought to light. There were a lot of complex business terms that were used, but it was so entertaining and it was such a well-written story. So I would say definitely Wall Street was probably one of my favorite business themed movies.
Okay, awesome, awesome. That's really cool. And then any books that you recommend business wise or even mindset wise? And I noticed you talked about that a lot too. Um,
Um, I would say you may want to check out Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. You may want to go ahead and check that out. I would definitely say go ahead and also look into your particular field. There may be people that you may want to emulate in your field. So, of course, if you're in the IT space, of course, you may want to check out things on, Bill Gates and, Steve Jobs. But one of the things that I think, one of the books that's kind of a staple, I think, for most people is Rich Dad, Poor Dad, certainly in reference to mindset, understanding kind of where you can fall in. And it's not necessarily just about being wealthy, but it is about making sure that you cultivate the right type of financial mindset, because I think a lot of times we are conditioned to think a certain way based upon the way that the educational system was. And so if you didn't have anyone who was kind of showing you education's great, but there are other ways for you to be able to think about how you make money, how you save money, how you invest money, this is definitely a great game changer.
that's awesome. Actually, I want to throw out another book too that I just thought about as you were saying that last book. Um, it's called oh gosh, it's by T. Harvick. It's called oh gosh, the Money Mindset or something along those lines. Oh, the Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. There you go. The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harvick, because and you should get it on audiobook if you can, because they do a lot of money affirmations after each chapter,
Oh, great.
and there's a power in hearing it out loud and then you repeating it, because we all
Yes.
have like the way that we're made up, our blueprint of what we saw growing up that affects the way that we deal with money or not deal with money,
Mhm.
in our daily lives as adults. So I think that'd be great. It was really awesome having you here on our live today, Adina. I am so excited to see your business continue to take off. And just one more time before we go, if you could, because I know we had some people tune in a little bit later, if you could just again one more time a little bit about what you do, and then we'll close it out.
Sure. Again, I'm Adina Collins. I'm the CEO of Fortitude Financial Consulting. I'm based in Metro Dallas, but I can help anyone anywhere, especially now that we are all virtual. So I offer three primary services. The first one is virtual CFO services, virtual Chief Financial Officer services, where we can help you to be able to hone in on your financial goals and also be able to help you to have multiple financial strategies to be able to achieve your short-term and long-term financial goals and make sure that your business operations are running properly. The second thing is I work with you as a tax planner. If that is something that you want to do, that is a specialized service where I would actually be able to work with you one-on-one, whether it's personally or for your business, to be able to determine what are your tax credits, what are your tax deductions that may be available to you so that you can save money year round. Because again, the time for you to save money is not when you go to file, it's too late by then. And by the way, this is something that typically CPAs typically do not offer. It's not that they can't, it's just that that is usually not what they tend to focus on. So again, this is a specialized service. And the third thing is that I do offer people one-on-one as well as group coaching for personal finances as well as for business advisory. So if you are a business owner and you need help in reference to making sure that your business plan is set up properly, that you are moving in the right direction, that you are getting the right money mindset coaching, and that you are making sure that your business is firing on all of your cylinders, then this is something that I can definitely assist you with.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Adina. I really appreciate your time today. Thank everybody else for tuning in. We appreciate y'all. And just something to think about, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail, right? Adina came in, she started her business and really put her faith, to the test. So what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail, right? I want y'all to sit on that one. And thanks again, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye, Miss Adina.
Bye bye.